Hey everybody, welcome back, it's Eric here, and today I'm going to be doing a follow-up video of my last video, which was an unboxing video, which included this playmat, the sleeves that these cards are wearing, the sleeves that these cards have, and this deck itself. That being the Blaster Aichi Sendo Legend deck that came out, I think 3 months ago, but it's the deck that I wanted to start getting into with playing Vanguard. So I already know how to play Vanguard and like a lot of Vanguard, but I've never actually got a chance to play Vanguard, the game itself, like physically. But I know of the game, but I know how to play it. But today what I'm going to do, as in the last video, I'm going to go over just the very basics of Vanguard. Well, kind of the basics of Vanguard. Well, I'm going to give you the brief description of the game, go over the field, go over the cards themselves, the different types of abilities cards have, and the cost to activate the skills as well. Also, of course, the phases of a turn in Vanguard and stuff like that. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, what is Cardfight Vanguard to begin with? Cardfight Vanguard is a fast-paced card game made by Bushiroad, where you take the form of spirit and go to the planet of Cray. On Cray, since you're only a spirit, you call upon units from a specific clan that you want to play, a specific clan. In this case, in my case, Royal Paladins, and you use and you call upon units of this clan to face against an opposing player and their clan of their choice. And the first person to take 6 damage at the end loses, and the spirit leads Cray. So we'll just get rid of this for the moment. We'll just place that like that. So with that brief description out of the way, let's get into the field. This doesn't have it, but all trio decks and some old triple mechs you can actually buy, which was one I was gonna buy, but I wanted to buy one that I can use for Yu-Gi-Oh as well. But a little tangent. So let's go over the field. So let's go into the main bulk of the field, which is just like where all your units are placed. In the forward mid, we have 2 rows of 3. So in the forward mirror, we have your Vanguard, which is your main unit that leads the way. This will basically be the embodiment of you leading your allies. Then we have 5 rear guard circles, all around surrounding the Vanguard, 2 in the front and 3 in the back. And then in front of the Vanguard, we'll have this place known as the Guardian Circle. Guardian Circle is where you place cards from your hand in order to shield yourself from opponents' attacks. Then we have the place where you place your deck, a place where you check your triggers. I'll go over the triggers when we're going over cards. The drop zone, which is just your graveyard. The G zone, which is over here, which is this open area, and the G deck, which is just the extra deck, and then your damage zone, where you place your the damage that you take. Also, when you count the damage. So, first of all, let's go into. So now that we've gone over the field, let's go over to the card. We'll go over all the details of the card with this card itself. So. Let's see if it focuses first. So we have in the top left-hand corner, we have the grade of the card. This is a grade 0. Below it is the skill. All grades have a skill unique, someone unique to them. Over here, to the side is the shield. This is the amount of points of shield unit has when you're using them to guard. Down here we have a box of tech, box of the different abilities these units have. just a little bit of flavor text, and then down here we have what kind of unit it is. It's a normal unit. The name of the unit, Blue Sky Barkle. The amount of power it has. This part right here, which is the critical. Critical doesn't really matter too much. It mainly, since all units in the game have a base critical of 1, which means they only do 1 damage. And then down here, and then right here, we have the clan where it's from. In this case, Royal Paladins. The type of monster it is. This is a high beast, and then the flag. Oh, if it's out of focus, but then the flag of the nation it comes from. So now let's get into the different grade specific stuff. So let me just call on these guys right here. Yeah. So we have 4 different grades in Vanguard. Let me just put them up. So as I said before, we have grade 0s. I'll go over the specifics of grade 0s right now. So there are 2 different types of grade 0 units. There are normal grade 0 units, and then there are trigger grade 0 units. So let's go just go over the stuff that they both share. All grade 0 units have the skill known as Boost. Boost means is that when they are in the back row rearguard circle, they can give all of the power to a unit directly in front of it when that unit declares an attack. So let's just say, simple explanation. Yeah, it's just as I said. A guy in the front is attacking and doesn't have enough attack. Just put one of these guys at rest, and then they give an extra boost of attack to it. So the main difference between a normal grade 0 unit and a trigger grade 0 unit is that normal grade 0 units usually have more effects than a trigger grade 0 unit. But trigger grade 0 units have a special trigger icon right here. There are 4 different types of triggers. I'm not going to pull out the other ones because I want to try to keep this deck like how it is at the moment. But there are 4 different types of triggers. This trigger that we have right here is a draw trigger. Draw trigger just let's just go into what all triggers do. What all triggers do is that when they are revealed for a damage check or a drag check, I'll go over those when we get into the flow of combat. They activate a special effect. In this case, all of them, what they all do is that they give 500 points. They all have an effect that's not listed on it, which is target one of your units, either rearguard or vanguard, and give it 5,000 power. So yeah. It automatically gives 5,000 power to a unit of your choosing, and then it has an additional effect. There are 4 different kinds. There are draw triggers, which allows you to draw a card. Damage triggers, critical triggers, which gives you 1 point of extra damage. Stand triggers, which allow one of your rear guards to stand up, so you can use it again for attacking or stuff like that. And then finally, heal trigger, which allows you to heal damage. An important part of heal triggers is that you can only heal damage if you have equal to or greater damage than your opponent. So that's everything to do with grade 0s. Oh, almost forgot. An important thing about trigger units is that you can only have up to 16 of any trigger in a deck, except for heal triggers. You can only have a maximum of 4 heal triggers in a deck. So yeah. Then after grade 0s comes comes grade 1s. The difference between grade 1s and grade 0s is that the difference between grade 1s and grade 0s is that grade 1s have a bit more of attack and have a lower shield. They have lower shield, but they have overall better effects, usually better effects than grade 0s, but they also share the boost ability as well. So that's everything with grade 1s. Now let's go into the next one, which is grade 2s. Grade 2s, again, they still have, let me focus. Guys, it's just too shiny, whatever. So grade 2s, they have more attack. That being they have either 2,000 more attack or sometimes 1,000 more attack or 3,000 more attack than your standard grade 1 unit. And then they still have a 5,000 shield. They usually have even better effects than grade 1s. And then they've traded out the boost ability for a special ability known as Intercept. What Intercept means is that when this unit is in a rearguard circle, has to be in the rearguard circle, in the rearguard circle, one of the forward rearguard circles, when your opponent is attacking you, you can also use them and call them to my bad. The Intercept ability basically means when this card is in the rearguard circle, you can call it to the guardian circle in order to guard against opponent's attacks. That is a simple explanation. Way simpler than what I was trying to say. So that's the power of grade 2s. Now we'll go into the mighty grade 3s. Grade 3s are usually your boss monsters of the main deck. They have even more power. They have no shield, so they cannot guard from your hand. So you don't want to run too many of them, but you usually want to run about 8, since that's a good max. One of them being your main guy, and the other one being your secondary guy. This guy's the main guy of the deck. So grade 3s are usually what you want to have as your Vanguard. And so along with having more power, they also gain the ability known as Twin Drive. Twin Drive means when it's the Vanguard and its attacks, you can perform the drive check twice. As I said before, I'll go over drive check in a moment when we go into battle. Now we're going to the special Exodec. Hold up, I forgot one. We'll go over the special Exodec monster units of this game, known as G units. I'll go over all. I'll go over some details about them later, but I'll just go over the basics of them now. So G units are the alternate futures of yourself. They basically change the outcome of a battle to lean to your favor. They only last on the field for one turn, but at the cost of only lasting for one turn, they have very powerful abilities, and also have the ability known as Triple Drive, which means you check the drive trigger 3 times. Then there is a specific type of G unit known as a G Guardian. They are the only unit which have a base shield of 15,000. They usually have an ability which makes them have even more shield. The way that you call out G Guardians is by, when you have a heal trigger in your hand, you can discard that heal trigger to call this from the Guardian Circle in order to give you even more protection. So yeah, those are the mighty grade 4s. I'll go over how to bring out these grade 4s when we go into the flow of battle, which we will go over pretty soon. Yeah. So now let me just put everything back into what it was. So now here it goes. You picked out your trio deck of the clan that you want to play as, or you picked up a bunch of booster packs and made yourself a deck out from the clan that you want to play from that booster set. The reason I say that is because not all clans have a trio deck for them. So sometimes if you want to play a specific clan, you're going to have to try and make booster sets of them. I'll go over the very specifics of a clan in a later video. So now let's go over to basically how to start. So what you do is that, what you do is that first of all you pick out a unit from your deck, a grade 0 from your deck, and put it down as your starting Vanguard. Usually what you want to do is that you want to pick out units which have the special skill. Only grade 0s have this, but they have a special skill known as Forerunner. What Forerunner means is that when they are placed down when they are ridden on top of by another unit of the same clan, you can call them down onto the rear guard circle. I'll give an example of that when we go forward into this lesson. So once you've chosen out your grade 0, preferably one that isn't a trigger unit, you'll always have one in a trier deck, and you're going to have to try and find one for your specific clan that works best for your deck. So what you do is that you place it down right in your Vanguard circle. Both of you have placed down one. Now you check the top 5 cards of your deck. I'll basically show off the top. Yeah. You pick up the top 5 cards of your deck. Look at it. You gotta look at it first. And then in Vanguard you have the ability to mulligan. The reason you have the ability to mulligan is because you preferably always want to have a grade 1, a grade 2, and a grade 3 in your deck. And you can mulligan as many cards as you want back into the deck. Usually you want to have these trigger units back in the deck, or multiple copies of the same card that you don't need. So yeah, that's what you usually want to shuffle back in. In this case, I'll just put back him in the deck. Simple as that. I won't shuffle. Usually you just shuffle, and then you just draw the same amount of cards that you put back from your deck. In this case, I put back 1, so I draw 1 card. So now, after deciding who goes first, in this case, I'll go first to show off special stuff. When you go in first, you do not attack. Just saying that now. When you go in second, you do. So now that you both have decided who's going first, and you both have mulligan and stuff like that, now what happens is that you both flip up your starting Vanguard and say stand up Vanguard along with saying the name. So, just a demonstration. Stand up Vanguard, Blue Scad Barkle. Yep. I'm going to be trying to say that a lot. But you don't really have to say it out loud, it's me. You just have to say stand up Vanguard and then just say the unit's name. Just being extra over dramatic. Alright, so since we're going first, so now let's go over to the different phases. When going first, stuff only changes a little bit. So at the beginning of every turn, what you do is that you stand. You stand first. Stand means that you put vested units on your field back into the stand position. In this case, we don't have any vested units. And so all we have to do is draw a card. You draw a card in your first turn. Then you can only ride once. So now you choose what riding means is that you call upon a unit that's 1 grade higher than your Vanguard at the moment. Since we have a grade 0, we have to call on a grade 1. So I'll call on Little Tactician Marion. So now Blue Scad Barkle's ability activates his Forerunner ability. Since they're both roller patterns, Blue Scad Barkle is able to call itself onto any rear guard circle. Usually it's back here, but in some cases you want your starting Vanguard to be up here so you have extra attackers in the beginning. In our case, we'll just place Blue Scad Barkle right there. And since we can't attack in the first turn, that's where our turn ends. Now let's just say our opponent rides, and then since they're able to ride, they're able to attack first. So now we'll go into the damage check. So you only take damage when an attack hits your Vanguard. The way an attack hits your Vanguard is that if the unit that's attacking has equal to or higher attack than the Vanguard, or the shield that you placed down. So in our case, you can also choose not to guard if you don't want to. You don't always have to guard. So in our case, I don't guard. So the way you do a damage check is that you check the top card of your deck and flip it over. In this case, it has no trigger, so nothing happens. So now we place it over here in the damage zone, where it stays face up. This is when in the damage zone, we can use face up cards up there for special abilities known as Counterblast. Counterblast means that you take a card in your damage zone and you flip it face down as the cost for an ability. And then there is also another cost or another thing that happens known as Counter Charge, which is just the opposite of Counterblast. When you take a card in your damage zone and flip it back face up. So yeah, That's one of the condition. Those are two of the conditions known as countercharge and counterblast. So now we're going back to our turn. They only attacked once, and now it's our turn. We have to stand and draw. Since we're on a stand, we just draw. Now we have to write down a grade 2. Now let's write down Blaster Blade. So I write Blaster Blade. As you see, the card I wrote is now, the previous card I wrote is now underneath it. This is known as Soul. You collect Soul by doing special things, or just my bad. Let me rephrase that. The basic way to collect Soul is by just writing. Every time you write, the previous card below it then becomes the Vanguard Soul. The Soul can be used to also pay cost. And there is a cost known as Soul Blast, is where you take a card in the Soul, basically anything underneath the Vanguard, and put it in your drop zone, and you pay it as a cost. There's also another thing known as Soul Charge, which is basically just the opposite. As you saw with Counterblast and Countercharge, Soul Charge, instead of putting a card from your Soul into the graveyard, you add the top card of your deck into the Soul, like that. So yeah, that happens. Now let's call upon with that being done, let's call upon other units. You can only call upon units which have a grade equal to or lower than your current Vanguard. In our case, Blaster Blade's a grade 2, so we can call upon all the grade 2s and all the grade 1s that we want from our hand. Also, a special little note, if you have a rear guard right here that you don't want anymore, you can just retire it flat out. So you can just get rid of it if you don't want it anymore, but we still want him right here. So what we can do is that we can call upon Knight of Virtue Guaranteed, and we can place him down right here. And then behind him, we can call upon Wingo Youth. So now we're going to attacking. Usually what you want to do, right now, when you have two columns full, you always want to attack with Vanguard first and then Rear Guard second. And then if you have all three of your columns full, what you always want to do is attack with a Rear Guard, Vanguard, and Rear Guard. Since I'm about to go over a drive check, as I said, triggers have special abilities, but so you don't want to waste off your triggers if your other units already attacked. So let's just go, since we only have two columns full, let's just attack with our Vanguard. As I said before, grade 1s and grade 0s can boost. So we can boost up Blaster Blade with Barco, and now we can perform a drive check. Drive check can only be activated when a Vanguard attacks. So in our case, anything other than the grade 3 and the grade 4 only has a drive check of 1. So in our case, we just check the top card of our deck. Oh, it's a critical trigger. Now, since I showed off a trigger, I'm going to go into a special thing that critical triggers and stand triggers can do. As I said before, all triggers have the ability to give power to a unit, but I said that pretty loudly, so my bad. But with stand triggers and critical triggers, you can actually split up the effects. So usually what happens is that if your attack is not going to hit, or if your attack is already going to go through, you can divvy up the points. So in our case, let's just say our opponent does not choose to guard. So we don't want to waste this 5,000 power with our Blaster Blade. So we just give the critical to Blaster Blade, so now he does 2 damage, and then the power to Bedivere, so now he has 5,000 more attacks, so he's most likely more to hit. So after you drive check a card, you add it to your hand. And now, as you see, these guys are now in an ability known as Rest. Now, let's just say we attack with our Bedivere, and then that's it. Our turn's done, it flips over to our opponent, and let's say they reach grade 2 now, and then they just call upon 3 units, and they just attack with all their stuff. So we take a couple more points of damage. Boom. Boom. Actually no. Since I've revealed a trigger during my opponent's turn, what you always want to do when you reveal a trigger during your opponent's turn is get everything to your... Usually you want to give everything to your Vanguard, because then it makes it less likely for your opponent to hit you. So let's say since my opponent didn't draw any triggers and their unit is actually weaker than my Vanguard, that unit can't attack at all. So my Vanguard stays safe. So now it's back to my turn. You stand before every one of your turns and then you draw. Now I can go into grade 3. Grade 3 is where stuff really starts to get heat up. Now I can ride into my boss monster, Blaster Blade Exceed. So let's illuminate the darkness. Blaster Blade Exceed. Ride! Being a little bit extra because I want to. So now we have a grade 3 out. I'm not gonna call upon any units because I don't really feel like it. So let's go. So as I said before, grade 3s have the ability to twin drive. So let's attack. And now we can check the drive check twice. We have that, and then now we didn't trigger anything, so nothing really happens. So now we just attack what I already did, and let's just say that attack didn't hit. So now it's our opponent's turn. They call upon their own grade 3, and then let's just say they were able to get to grade 4. They were able to do the ability known as Stride, which will go over next turn. So let's just say they attacked with the rear guard into a Vanguard, and we're going to take that damage. Now, the Vanguard is pretty powerful, and we don't want to activate the triggers. So we have a special unit which I didn't go over, which is only available to grade 1. They have this golden shield right here, and they're called Sentinels. You can only have 4 of these in your hand. And you can only have 4 of these in the deck, and they all have a continuous effect. Continuous effects mean that they are active all the time, no matter what. Usually once they enter the field or like all the time in the deck. So with there are 2 different kinds of Sentinels. This one is a perfect guard, means that when you place it down to the Guardian Circle, you just discard a card in your hand. Let's just say we just give it a Flugel. Now your attack cannot go through at all. But if it was a different kind of Sentinel known as a Quintet Wall, they'll term that. But what the Quintet Wall does, instead of having the ability discard a card in your hand, it has the ability call the top 5 cards from your deck at rest in the Guardian Circle. Basically just means that you're calling up 5 units from your deck. Could be any units. You could even make grade 3s. In that case, you're not going to add in any shield with them. But you still have add shields with any of your grade 0s, which have 1,000 shield, or any of your grade 2s and 3s, which have 5,000 shields. It's still good. And you call 5 of them out. So it's a good way if you don't want to get rid of cards in your hand. So let's just say that didn't go through. And now let's just say that nothing else really happens, okay? They just pass it over to Archer. So now we're standing up. And now we can really start going over the special stuff about Vanguard. We're activating a lot of effects and stuff like that. So let's draw. Now, at the ride phase, since we're already at grade 3, you can ride a grade 3 over a grade 3. But since both of us are at grade 3, we can do a special thing known as Stride. This is how we get to our special attacking Vanguards. So what we do is that we take cards in our hand which grades add up to 3 or more. In this case we have a grade 3, so we can just get rid of him in order to Stride from our X deck. So let's reach out for different possibilities and Stride into Holy Dragon, Myriad Soul Saber. So now a special thing. Now I'll go over another special thing about G units. So as you might have saw before, G units have a power and then a plus. What this means is that a special thing happens now. The Vanguard that you roll atop of them becomes the heart. What this means is that their attacking power combines. They still only have a critical of 1, but now they both share a name, so this is also treated as Blaster Blade, and they both share the same type. So that really makes your G units super powerful. Now we've reached a special state. Since we called upon a G unit, we have now reached a state known as Generation Break 1. Generation Break is a cost for activating abilities. What Generation Break means is, another thing that Generation Break means is that as long as you have a G unit, the more G units you have face up in your G zone, since after they're done, they go back face up into your G zone, right next to your G deck. That means they can't be used again. Or in your Vanguard circle, now that means you reach that Generation Break. Since we have a lot of units which actually activate at Generation Break 1, we can start activating stuff. First things first, we've also activated a special ability that certain Vanguards have, which is usually an effect that you always want Vanguards to have, which is called a Stride ability. Stride abilities happens when you stride upon your Grade 3 Vanguard. In this case, Blaster Blade has a stride ability of Counterblast 1. Add a Blaster Blade unit from your deck to your hand. So, any unit with Blaster Blade is named, so we can add back a Grade 3 Blaster Blade for striding next turn or calling upon. Now, we can do other stuff as well, since we have all these cards in our hand. So, what we can do is that we can activate more abilities this turn to add to our power. So, what we can do is that we can call upon Starhold Trumpeter, who has the ability of Counterblast 1, call a unit from your deck. And when you call a unit from your deck, you can call it over another unit. So it basically just gets rid of that unit in place for this one. Now we've triggered K's special ability. K's special ability is that he gives the unit in front of it, Bedivere, extra more power, and after he does that, you countercharge 1. So basically, we call upon a unit for free and powered up our guys. This is just an example of crazy combo, of extra combos that you can do. So yeah, I think I should go over a bit more, but yeah. So now that that's happened, we can now activate. Now we're going to attack. Let's just say that. So now, wait, hold up. Take that back. Take that back. I'll take that back attack because I forgot to do a certain thing. Well, now, usually with your starting Vanguards, you did a thing where you reach Generation Break 1. They can do a thing. Usually, what happens is that they have a counter charge ability and put them into the soul. So then you can have more soul power for other stuff. In this case, Barco allows us to add a Blaster Blade from our deck to our hand. Now we can just call upon units from our hand that we see fit. Let's just say, so let's do this. We'll just retire Starhold Trumpeter and call on a Blaster Blade. Then we call upon a Lu behind it, and then we'll call upon Epona behind. We'll switch places with these. So let's call them from here. Now I'll show off the special ability that G units can really bring you in the battle. So, with a boost from Lu and attacking with Murat Soul Saber, I've activated continuous an auto effect. Auto effects only activate when a specific condition is met. In this case, I Soul Blast 3. You can't Soul Blast the heart since at the end of the turn your unit then returns back to being this. So you Soul Blast 3. When the auto ability says that once it's attacked, now I give 5,000 power to everyone in my rearguard circles. So that boosts up everyone else, and let's just say we attack, attack, and attack. And let's just say that our opponent does survive this turn. At the end, wait. Oh gosh, I'm getting ahead of myself. So now, since we're attacking with a grade 4, grade 4s, as I said, have the ability of triple drive. We check the top 3 cards of our deck for a drive check. In this case, we didn't drive check anything, but you could have drive checked more critical triggers, stand triggers, heal triggers, or draw triggers, which then give you an extra boost in the game. So after that, we just add them all back into our hand. So now we have extra defense as well as added advantage. Since the Cardfight Vanguard, you really want a lot of cards in your hand. So now, let's just say we attack and attack and attack and attack. Our turn's done. At the end of the turn, after you started, this guy, the G unit goes back face up, so you still have a generation makeup 1, but now you can't use that specific one back, and then you return back to your Soaring Vanguard. Alright, so that's the basics of Cardfight Vanguard. The field, the cards, the specific things that cards can do, activation of cards for skills, striding. I already told you how to generation guard. I didn't have to show it off here because I didn't really need to show it off. But I will say this, that you can generation guard anytime you want, actually. Wait, hold up. Can you? Wait, no, you can only generation guard when both of you guys are a grade 3. And I already said the cost for generation guard, which is discard a heal trigger from your hand. But the reason you want a generation guard is not only because you get more defense, because the G units, they go face up in your G zone. Oh, my bad. They go face up to your G zone, so then you already reach a generation break. They allow you to activate more abilities, because there's actually more than just generation break 1. There's generation break 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and then now they recently just came out with generation break 8, which is, yeah. But yeah, that's everything. That's all the basics of the game, really. If you guys have any questions that I didn't really, any questions about stuff I didn't really go over too well, comment them down below. I'll try to respond to your comments to see if you guys still have, to see if I can clear up those questions. Or if you guys want, I can try to respond to all those questions in a follow-up video to this. In the next video, I'll either be doing something else, or I will be going over the clans and what they do. So yeah, hope you guys actually learned something from this. It's a pretty long video, mainly me rambling on, but since you guys don't actually, since of what I've learned, a good way to actually learn Vanguard is either through what is usually by playing Vanguard, or by watching a very detailed tutorial video. And I tried to be as detailed as I could, was trying to stay as simple as I possibly could as well. I probably made a few mistakes here and there, but hopefully you guys actually learned something. I'm still rambling on and stuff like that. But yeah, that'll be all for me. Leave a like down below if you guys liked it. Subscribe for more stuff, because I will, because as I said, I'll be going with the different clans in my next card fight video, if it's not an actual card fight battle with me and Arturo. So yeah, that'll be it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. Man, this is a long video.